In Full Zoom is presented to you by Calvo Enterprises, Inc.
Half a day, everyone, and welcome to another edition of In Full Zoom. I'm Nestor Lecanto, and this week we're going to talk about something called the GUMA Business Incubator program, and our three guests are all involved in that, of course. And first, let me start with Monica Okada-Guzman, who is the Executive Director of GUMA. Francis Guerrero is the Chairman. And one of the participants, an incubator who has a business, I presume. Well, we'll talk to him a little bit more about that. Is Joey Certes, Hafaday. Welcome, everybody.
Welcome.
Okay. Monica, ladies first. I'm going to start with you. Tell us a little bit about GUMA and what it stands for. What I understand, it's Guam Unique Merchandise and Art. What's that all about?
Well, thank you, Francis, and Hafaday to everyone. Yes, GUMA, Guam Unique Merchandise and Art, is a 501c3 federally recognized nonprofit organization, and we're in our 8th year, and the whole genesis of GUMA is to be recognized as the premier catalyst for economic development. And we want to develop a sound and sustainable economy through innovative programs to preserve and promote local culture, economic opportunities, and quality of life. So basically what that means is we want to encourage small business, our artists and our cultural producers to take their talent and skills into a self-sustaining, revenue-generating business that will increase and improve their quality of life. And so, like I said, we've been doing this for 8 years, and we have 3 pillars of our program. One is the training, mentoring, and entrepreneurship program. And then the second is the trade fairs, where we actually have our business incubators and participants go and participate in trade fairs. And then we have the incubator program. So it's been around for 8 years, and we just, on Saturday, we had our orientation for our 8th cohort, and we had over 60 people register.
Wow, that sounds great. So Francis, tell me a little bit more about this incubator program that you guys did over the weekend.
Well, as Monica said, the GUMA program truly is about mentoring our local cultural producers to get them to a point where they can become sustainable businesses. So people get excited about it. We've got a lot of participation from the general public. We've had so many people come through the program. It really is about contributing to the economy in that sense, because we're creating businesses pretty much. Many of the cultural producers, they're artists, they're home cooks, they're people that produce stuff, but they're not necessarily adept to running a business or even starting a business. So this program has become very viable in that sense. I think that's why we get so many participants. This last orientation Saturday was really exciting because, of course, it's the first time we had to do it via Zoom. So that does present as one of the biggest successes we've had with our program has actually been that the participants get to, collaborate with each other in a classroom setting. They get closer to each other, and they end up helping each other out, and they become resources for each other as well. So we're still going to figure out how we can make that part work, because it is important. That said, I think we've incubated now over 30 businesses, I believe. Most of them are still up and running and successful. Many of them had to, switch gears, do some adjustment, and get very creative. Given this pandemic. Joey's raising his hand. I think I'll leave that for him to talk about. But it's been amazing. I think the participation that we've had, and to see the development from when they first started to when they get out of finish the program. One of the things we do require is that they commit themselves. Our training staff is really strong. Lorraine Okada heads that up, and we partner with SBDC. So that part is a 16-week program that they attend. I think it's every Saturday for like 3 or 4 hours. it takes them all the way through how to write a business plan. So by the time they're done and they graduate from that, they literally have a business plan that they can actually take to any bank. It's viable for financing. They truly understand what it is to market their product, what it is to price it. We found that a lot of our participants forget about pricing their time and their effort. They just look at, okay, this is my cost to produce it. And to them, cost to produce it is all the materials they have to buy to make it. They forget that they should be paying themselves as well as the creators of it. So this has been a really good program, I think, for everybody involved. And, we're very excited that we've lasted this 8 years. We're excited that we've been able to take people forward by applying for federal grants as well. And then the support that we've gotten from even the business community. I mean, when the program started, it was the brainchild of Cliff and Monica had the idea. And they approached, I believe it was Jim Bigley. I was still with DFS at the time, and DFS really got behind it because, we were about, trying to develop the people of Guam as well. So it started out with a grant from them so that we could get ourselves up and running, hence now a nonprofit that we actually can apply for grants. We did get an ANA grant several years ago, a huge one that took incubators through 3 years of the program in that funding. We just got a second one. Monica can talk more about that a little later. But yeah, it's been a real big roller coaster ride that's proven to be real successful.
In Full Zoom is presented to you by Calvo Enterprises, Inc. GU Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information. In Full Zoom is presented to you by Calvo Enterprises, Inc.
Sounds great. And speaking of participants, Joey, tell us about a little bit first about your business, and then what got you interested in the GUMA Incubator program.
Oh, okay. Thank you for having me. Thank you for inviting me, Monica. It's a really great pleasure to always speak about the GUMA program and how it benefited me as an artist. And how I started was in 2014. I just started doing design work for Inet Pagu, and from there it just started escalating. I did design work for Inet Pagu when I did their traditional wear. Actually hand painted a lot of their attire, and that kind of grew into something more viable. It's like, okay, I can do something with fabric and textile designing, and we can create a market that's something for our people. Something that we can say those are our designs. Then in 2015, I was tapped to be a part of the FestPac and be a part of the fashion cohort. And we were also fortunate enough to be able to design the delegation wrap for our Guam delegation. And that was a huge honor. And that whole process kind of gave birth into like, hey, GUMA's here. Why don't we go apply for GUMA and go see what they're all about, so we can take these ideas, this art form of textile design, and actually make a business out of it. And it was their rigorous workshops that myself and my partner Miracle Mogul, who I'll speak a little bit more about later on, we said like, yeah, let's do this. Let's try it out. And I'm an artist. What my brand had was a passion. We had the idea. We knew what we wanted. We knew our target audience. We just did not know the business. I did not know the business. I'm an artist. But it was the training that I got from the SBDC office and the mentors of the GUMA program that kind of cultivated our artist minds to now train ourselves to be business minded. How do we think about sales? How do we think about pricing? Like what Francis was mentioning, that was my biggest struggle. How do I value my time and put a dollar on that?
Sure.
And my business is Tau Pacific Designs. We design fabric and textiles inspired by our people in everyday life in Micronesia and the Mariana Islands. And we want to allow our people to wear these textiles as a form of empowerment so that when they travel around, they're a walking storyboard. they have another outlet of telling stories about who they are and where they come from, and that's Guam and Micronesia. So we allowed that vessel through textiles to become more apparent for our community. But yeah, it wouldn't happen without GUMA. We thought that today we thought that when we started we can be in this fast fashion idea, but knowing that with the pandemic and knowing our artistry, we kind of have to think back and track backwards and think of slow fashion. And that kind of brought us to more of our integrity of our brand. We want to design apparel that people can feel proud of, but also can be considered an heirloom because we want to engage that fast fashion and it be made for the individual, which is Tao. Tao I believe is individual, where in our language we have Tao Tao, and that's a plural form of people. So Tao, to me, as an artist, reflecting with language, is about the individual, and we want to make designs for the individual.
Yeah.
So
Joey, I think you got the marketing side of the business down already. So
yeah.
tell me a little bit about the what you didn't know that you learned over the weekend during the incubator program.
What we did not know is how to frame our artistry, our visions into a business plan. How do we break it down to different SOPs that we can follow through, saying, okay, we want to create this product. Okay, we have to think about, okay, we have to buy fabric. We have to buy the thread for the fabric, all the small materials that, we thought we can just say, hey, we want to design this. But no, GUMA challenged us to always think about the smaller pieces, the smaller steps that you need to get to that product. So I have a product, but I need to get all the goods to make the product. And I think about the labor of the product. I need to think about my value of my designs into the product, because at the get-go, I was hand printing all of the fabric myself as the artist. And that's what I was being stuck and stubborn with. But now evolving and now learning more is like, hey, I want to go into a manufacturer where I can get digitally printed fabric. But I want to keep that integrity and that idea that I wanted to have with slow fashion of how it's going to evolve to now, like, hey, I know a lot of seamstresses on Guam. I can tap onto their services, provide more income for them, but also create the product I need so that we can sustain this whole Guam-made product or Micronesian-made product. But that kind of evolved also because we developed relationships outside of just Guam, and we developed relationships with Green Banana Paper and Kosarai. So we, as a business, had to approach another business and how to develop a collaboration on a product. And that whole process, creating contracts, oh my goodness, creating contracts is not easy. And have to go through legal work. It's not easy, but it's the process that we as artisans need to understand in order to be successful, but also be professional at the same time, because artistry as a career, we have to have a level of professionalism. We don't have a level of professionalism, I don't think we're doing our artist career justice, which is what I gained from the GUMA program, and which is I gained in my relationships after the GUMA program, and that led to Green Banana Paper, creating Green Banana Paper products with top Pacific design patterns on it.
Yeah.
So
sounds good.
That full circle idea of what we kind of are envisioning with our brand.
In Full Zoom is presented to you by Calvo Enterprises, Inc. GU Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information. In Full Zoom is presented to you by Calvo Enterprises, Inc.
So, Monica, what do you, in your 8 years running this program, what do you see has been the biggest challenge or challenges for operators such as Joey?
I think the most important thing is developing the business plan and sticking to the business plan. And a lot of our artists and cultural producers, they're all creative side of the brain, right? But making sure that they're compliant and all the legal issues, copyright. In Joey's case, intellectual property is very, very critical. And then also the accounting part of it, the business side of it. And so, the motto that we've created in GUMA is bring a partner, and Joey was fortunate that he was able to bring Miracle, and Miracle can address, she's also an artist, but I think she's ambidextrous because she can address the business side of it also. And, that's been a successful model for us. Like Joey said, the whole value chain is very important, and the collaboration and the bonding with other folks within the cohort, because you can exchange ideas among like-minded people. And I just want to say, Nestor, that with 60 people that registered for Saturday's orientation, that was the largest we've seen, and so far, and it's just indicative of the environment that we're in. All along for the last 8 years, we knew we had always were proponents for economic development and small business development, right? But having 60 people registered, that just shows what the environment is. We have I read last night that our unemployment rate is 17, almost 18%, with 13,000 people unemployed. And so, there's a lot of, it started out at 20,000. There's a lot of skills and talent out there. And, using the GUMA program to encourage and our people to whatever that idea that's been nurturing in the back of your mind, that you wanted to do, then, come and join us, and we'll help you nurture that idea, and maybe bring that idea to fruition in a successful business. So that's, as far as economic recovery from COVID, we believe that with that many people signing up, that's just a real telltale sign of the environment that our island is in. We have the incubator program, we have the training and mentoring program. That's a 12-week, 16-week course, and it's very inclusive. We bring in experts, we bring in lawyers, we bring in accountants, we bring in retail experts, merchandising experts, branding and marketing people. And it's, just so that you get a sense of what it is that you're going to need to operate a successful business. Francis is one of our folks that comes in and, talks a little bit about the retail side of things,
Yep.
And then we have the trade fairs where we actually bring our participants and our incubators to the Guam Micronesia Island Fair. And we have a trade fair at DFS so that our folks can experience what it's like to sell to the local community and what it's like to sell to our visitor industry. And so we try to think of ways that we can give our incubators and our participants experience to be successful.
Yeah, Francis, with your experience in the retail industry with DFS in particular, how would you assess the current marketplace for the artists, makers, creatives, and their products?
Well, I think best said when you look at the successes of those businesses that we actually already incubated, because as I was saying earlier, they had to switch gears. There are some of them that, their dream was to actually have a storefront, so a brick and mortar store, and they were successful doing that, and then they couldn't operate. Many have turned around and taken their business to, diversify it. They've gone into online sales and been quite successful with that. So, I think it's a telltale sign of, people getting creative. I think when they went through the program, they've learned how to adjust and adapt to whatever faces them, because it wasn't just this pandemic they had to adjust to. For many of them, it was a big learning curve. I think the mentoring and training program with SBDC was very good because, like I said, they go through together and they learn all these things. By the time they're done, sometimes they walked in with one idea and walked out instead with a different idea. So already, that fluidity that's there, happens in the course of the training. And then for some of them, they decided they were brave. They wanted to actually go for it and apply to be an incubator. And this is where then they get the financial assistance from us. But they literally have to have all their ducks in a row because they end up presenting to the board. And, when we first did it, we didn't think of it this way, but it was our own incubators that said, my God, you guys, this is like Shark Tank. And it truly is. And even then, they present to us, they go through their business plan. They actually have to have a prototype of their product because they have to sell us on the idea of why should we invest in you? And I guess that's where the whole Shark Tank thing came up. And even during that presentation, we're able to sit and start telling them from all of the expertise on the board, where we see strengths and weaknesses, where we see that maybe they still need to adjust direction a little bit. Maybe brick and mortar isn't what they should be doing if they're capitalizing on whatever success is. And I have to say, some of these people, they actually were already in business before they joined the program. So this was about taking themselves that next step further. And I think that's where all the successes happen and where people are learning then to adjust. And I think, to Monica's point, I think the reason we had such a big interest, this orientation for the next round of training just this past Saturday, was because there are people out there now that, they don't know what to do with themselves if they can't, work in their usual job because they're not quite, operating yet or whatever. Then they have this fabulous idea. It becomes, well, you know what? I may as well, jump in now, do something, take the bull by the horns and go make some money somewhere else, do it myself. I own it. I control it. If I succeed, it's all on me. If I fail, it's all on me. There's a somewhere in between that I might be able to be. And then because we we encourage them, you may not be the business-minded person, but you have a husband or a wife, or you've got kids, or you've got a cousin or somebody, a friend, a mali, a pari that can join you in the effort. When they both go through the classes, that breeds an even stronger success rate, I think, for them.
In Full Zoom is presented to you by Calvo Enterprises, Inc. GU Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information. In Full Zoom is presented to you by Calvo Enterprises, Inc.
All right. Let me go to Monica, because I know she wanted to say something about incubators, and then we'll wind up with Joey. Monica, you had some input on the incubators?
If I may, I'd just like to list down all our incubators, and some you may be familiar with some of them. We have GU Baby, Guam Peeps, Local Jerk, Studio 13 North, Sundays, they make the greatest ice cream. The Coconut Tree Company with Gary Tanaka and his coconut candy with chocolate and caramel. Fuuna Cultures, the Guam Bus, Gourmet Guam, you have to, they're a GPO. Lizama's Forge, Bonita Guam, Chamarita Collection, Chan Glam, Color Guam, Coutura Innovations, Serena Soul, Local Girl, Island Icons with 3D puzzles, Gutbu Guam, Infinity Charms, Island Memories, and Mark Muir Mosaics, including Tal Pacific Designs. And our board just approved another 3 incubators that will be rolling out in the next couple of months. So thank you for that, Nestor.
Glad to know the local entrepreneurial spirit is strong and is still going. Let us wind up with you, Joey. What's your advice to young folks out there like you who may be very talented, but may need some help on the business side? What would you advise them on?
For all those young aspiring artisans who want to create a career for themselves and engage in a business, I think GUMA program will be the best bet for you to go to seek advice. It's a free program. It may be time consuming, but it's all worth it. Like what Francis was saying, you go through a Shark Tank at the very end. I gotta say, you need to go through that no matter what, because having to speak, learn how to articulate what you want is very crucial as an artist or as a professional. So I highly suggest to go through GUMA as an outlet. Right now, there's not many other arts organizations that will give you great support. And I gotta say, GUMA has created so many examples for support for artisans. So that would be my advice to aspiring career-based artisans.
All right, thank you very much. That's Joey Certeza. We've also had Francis Guerrero, the chairman of the GUMA program, and Monica Guzman. I always want to say Monica Okada. Monica Okada Guzman, the executive director of the GUMA program. Thank you so much. Great to hear that we've got this much entrepreneurial spirit despite this pandemic that we've been going through the past year or so. I really appreciate you guys being on.
Esther, real quick, can Monica just plug our website and whatnot so people know how to find us?
GUMA.com, and Jason will put that up there for everybody to see. Thanks again, guys.
Okay, great. Thank you. Bye.
I'm Nestor Lecanto. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week again on In Full Zoom.
In Full Zoom is presented to you by Calvo Enterprises, Inc.